Hey, Fly Trade New Buckaroos, how the heck are you? You know who I am. It's National Bourbon Day. That's why I'm with you today. Gonna have one, maybe two bourbons with you, but I'm gonna have a beer in there somewhere as well. Pardon me while I check something real quick, like make sure everything's working like it's supposed to. So far, so good. All right. There we go. Want to make sure I post it up there right there. Make sure that's over there. Guess I put something there. I guess I could. So I got a lot of great bourbons for my birthday. I have a lot of friends, and more than I thought I had, to be honest with you. I was very humbled and overwhelmed, if you want to know the truth. But it was nice. It was honestly, in all honesty, it was the best birthday party I ever had. It was incredible. Be right with you. Sorry, I have more trouble to get this going than I thought I was going to have. Sometimes things just don't want to work the way you want them to. And I'm a bit electronically challenged. Or technologically challenged might have been a better way to say that. Try and get this fixed here. I got the shirt on because there's a lot of pride celebrations going on today. I kind of wanted to get down there to the Pride Fest here in town, but honestly, I just didn't feel like getting out. Many times I use my wife as an excuse because she has issues with severe anxiety, but the truth is, I mean, I was just peopled out. It's been a week. Before my other job, I always wanted to get out of my days off and see people, but I see people every day, and I just needed a little breather. If you want to know the truth, because I thought about getting out there, then I thought about maybe going somewhere else to see some other friends, but I really, uh, it was just difficult to even think about trying to get out there. I still didn't do. Trying to send something and it's not letting me send it. Bear with me. I'm gonna try one last time, and then you'll have my undivided attention. Can't figure out why it's not doing it. So it's gonna be one of those days, apparently. It's gonna be like that, is it? Anyway, there we go. We're just gonna run with it. How the heck are you? So I do have a very good bourbon that my friends Brian and Jason gave to me on my birthday. This is the Weller, the original peated bourbon, special reserve. This one's at 90 proof even, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. W.L. Weller was born in Kentucky in the year 1825. They give me a lot of notes there. They don't tell me how old the bourbon is. I was kind of hoping they did, or even the mash bill. I like to know these things. Being the whiskey geek that I am, they tell you to look for hints of caramel and honey. Weeded bourbons are all the rage these days. I say these days, it's been trend for well over a decade now. So I guess we're probably past trend at that point, huh? But I do remember a time, in all honesty, where you could pick up Pappy quite easily. I mean, it wasn't cheap, but it was on everybody's shelf. It was on the very top shelf at the best liquor store in town. But it wasn't. I mean, the price wasn't out of reach like it is today, and it wasn't hard to find. Uh, it is interesting today with certain bourbons. You expect to see, I mean, allocations. You expect to see that with certain levels, right? Certain price points, but when you have lower price points being allocated, that just doesn't make sense. As good as I think some of those bourbons are, there are bourbons of equal quality on the shelf that aren't allocated. So, that's the thing with whiskey geeks, though. They get caught up in the allocation. Somehow they think it's better if they're buying an allocated whiskey, even if they're paying three times its worth. And I just can't make that make sense. And you will never, ever, 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 ever see me buy anything on the secondary market because those folks are crooks and they're everything that's wrong with bourbon today. They're the folks that are driving up prices and they're doing it out of greed. They might want you to think it's for the love of the whiskey, but no, it's out of pure greed. And it's statements like that have got me kicked out of a couple local whiskey groups, but I'm not going to remain quiet. They're actively they're actively ripping people off. They know they're ripping people off. They know they're being unethical, and they do it anyway. The only thing they get mad about is when they get called out for being unethical. All right, I'm gonna let that go. Let that go. I didn't get that out of my system. Now I'm just gonna enjoy this bourbon that a good friend gave me, or two good friends gave me for my birthday. It's fine that they give you notes, but the notes they give you are very simple that you're probably going to find in almost any whiskey. Um, Caramel and honey, but that may be purposeful because not everybody's a whiskey geek, right? If you put obscure notes on there, folks are going to go, "What the hell?" But yes, definitely caramel, definitely honey. But I'm going to take it a little bit further because they did mention the other obvious note, which is vanilla. You're always going to find some vanilla in there. But you do feel some of that barrel on the nose, right? You're going to find some nice oak and spice. This one feels more like baking spice. Very even mix of cinnamon, some allspice, some clove. Might even find some nutmeg. This is a very easy drinker. Wow. Very easy at 90 proof. Incredibly easy to drink neat. But if you want to put some ice in, I mean, do your thing. Do what you got to do. I mean, I ain't going to stop you. I've been known to do that upon occasion. Here's my caveat to everything. Folks want to say, well, people ought to be able to drink any way they want to, and that is absolutely true. But here's the caveat: if somebody hands you a pour in a very specific way, you have to drink it that way, or it's rude on your part. What I mean by that is if somebody handed you a glass like this with some Weller in it, and you asked for some Coke to put in it, no, 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 I would take that glass out of your hand and not give you any more. If you can't appreciate it the way I'm handing it to you, no, you ain't getting any. Now, if your response is, if I ask you, would you like to try something? You say yes, but you mind if you happen to have a big cube or a globe? I kind of like it cold, little, and that's okay. I wouldn't stress that. I would pour it the way you want it. But if you ask for a 2 ounce pour or greater of a whiskey of this caliber and wanted to put some soda pop in it, no, hell no. In fact, I'd probably march out of my house in all honesty. Yes, if you're buying the whiskey, you can do anything you want to it. You can commit all the atrocities you want to your own whiskey. But if somebody's offering you something, you need to be respectful. This is very nice. Of course, like I said, they mentioned honey. They mentioned caramel. They didn't mention vanilla, but you're always going to find some vanilla in there. The question is how much and how deep. And this particular whiskey, it is rather light, but it's almost like a sweeter cream vanilla. It is a very sweet whiskey. And I'm going to add another note in there. They say honey, but I also feel like you get a raw sugar note in there as well. They didn't mention any fruit note. I'm going to say you're going to get a little stone fruit in there. Maybe a hint of apple as well. And I'm thinking more sweet apple than tart apple. I'm thinking closer to Red Delicious than Granny Smith. Now, I did have some of this on my birthday, but I had a lot of whiskey on my birthday. People just kept pouring stuff in the glass. I had every intention. In fact, I said, okay, I'm going to pace myself. We're going to go easy. I walked in, got half a beer. That's all I had was half a beer all night long, but that whiskey glass stayed full, man. We were only drinking a little bit at a time, but man, and we were doing shots, mind you. We were doing a lot of talking, but I drank nothing but whiskey all night long. I think I ended up dumping that half a beer. Oh mercy! So National Bourbon Day, how should you celebrate it? And my answer is maybe contrary to what I just said earlier about how you accept a pour was any way you want to. I mean, if you want whatever bourbon you like, whatever quality, if you want a lower end bourbon, you want to put coconut, hell, I'll give a rat's ass. Celebrate National Bourbon Day any way you want to with your own product. In fact, I've got a globe mold in there. I may have some on ice. But I did want to pour this Weller. I did want to pour this Weller neat, man. I wasn't playing with that, man. I wasn't gonna mess with you there. Very easy to drink whiskey. Dries up nicely. Very subtle spice in the finish. It's not heavy on the barrel. Now, if you ask if you're asking my preferences, yes, I like a lot of barrel, but I understand why this is a very popular whiskey. Mostly because it just does everything right. It doesn't make any mistakes. There are no flaws. You may want a bolder whiskey. You may want it this flavor, this note, this aroma, that aroma. And there's nothing wrong with that. But having said all of that, again, there's nothing wrong with this one. It is not flawed in any way whatsoever. I think it's a good bourbon to get folks hooked on bourbon. And I'm not saying it's a starter bourbon. That's a separate thing. I'm saying it's once they've already had their starter bourbons. If you want to really cinch it, then you give them a whiskey like this. This is a whiskey that'll get them hooked, and then on to bolder stuff. This is rather enjoyable. This is gonna sound crazy, and I'm sure they've never heard this before, but right there, I almost got that old. It brought back a memory. That old cinnamon sugar toast we used to have as kids for us poor folk. The toast and the butter and the cinnamon. Yeah, I got that note right there. I got that sweet cinnamon kind of feel there. It just brought back that cinnamon toast note. Anyways, no, I'm not wrapping this up. I'm going to have a beer in the middle here. Then I'm going to have one more whiskey with you. I'm going to run this video a little bit long for National Bourbon Day. And then I'll fix my pre-Father's Day dinner. So my sister likes to send us meat on our birthdays. My wife, our birthdays are close together, so she calls a local market and has some stuff sent to us. Nothing wrong with that because we love this stuff and it's a great, great meat mark. But one of the packages, like the last package here, was and I was saving it for Father's Day specifically. Was said ribeye at 2.2 pounds. And man, that's a big steak. But it turned out there were two steaks. I said, oh, that's better. So I'm gonna cook one of them tonight one way. I'm gonna cook one tomorrow a different way. But I also picked up some Argentina Reds. So again, same thing. I'm gonna cook some a certain way today and some a certain way tomorrow. So I'm having a beer that I actually got again for my birthday. I think this is part of a gift box from folks I work with, and I think a few of the folks, a few of the regulars. This is a classic, and I do believe I've had it before, but I think it's been a long time. Maybe I haven't had this exact one. Now that I say that, Pacific Northwest IPA, 6.9% from Rogue Brewing, a dank piney IPA, celebrating the iconic evergreens of the Pacific Northwest. I did spend about 2 years in my youth, in my early 20s. I lived a couple of years in Bellingham, Washington, uh, where my brother lives. They don't list IBUs, 6.9%. Rogue does some pretty good stuff. They always have. Remember one of those breweries, a lot of the early breweries haven't been able to keep up with the times, and a lot of them have gone under. Rogue has managed to stay relevant. That is a beautiful color. They don't call it a West Coast IPA per se. Pacific Northwest IPA. I definitely feel the dankness they were talking about on the nose now. No, most definitely. I'm getting a lot of big citrus, though. A lot of orange, specifically orange zest, to be more specific. But I'm feeling that piney note that they've been talking about. Yeah. Oh gosh, that's delicious. Oh my lord. Oh yeah, that's. Sometimes it doesn't seem like it's a natural descriptor for beer at first, but sometimes nothing is better than dang. It's very dang. Oh, mercy. Oh, that is nice, man. Bear with me just for a second. I'm going to jump off camera to grab something. Let's see. All right, I apologize for that. I forgot to get something for the next whiskey, bourbon specifically. I should have said. Oh, this is a nice beer, man. I'm not the biggest fan of hazies, and I'm kind of on record as saying so because I feel like they're too sweet for the most part. And this is why I love a beer like this that just doesn't play with you. It's big, it's bold, it's brash, it's dank, and it's unapologetic. This is an IPA right smack dab in my wheelhouse. A beer that tastes like a beer can be a beer that tastes like a beer. That's my big issue with the folks that love the hazies because they'll say things like, "It tastes just like orange juice. It's delicious." Well, why the hell would I want a beer taste like orange juice? That makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't get it at all, man. I want a beer that tastes like a beer. I want those other flavors, but it needs to still be a beer. And there are those of us that can remember there was a period of time. before the West Coast popularity, that beers, that IPAs were basically grapefruit and pine. I mean, and big doses of both. Almost like having a cough drop. I know that sounds unpleasant, but they were really good. There were some really good ones out there, man. They just put a permanent hurt on your palate. You were not good for anything after having one of those beers, man. Oh, man, this one is just beautiful, though. Clean, very clean, dries up nicely in the finish, and that's partly why I really like it a lot. That's partly my issue with a lot of hazies is that you got that lingering sweetness I find unpleasant, and that chalky mouthfeel that so many of them have. But this is just, it's bright, it's fresh, it's clean. Oh Lord have mercy. This is why Rogue is Rogue. It's why they're still, after all these years, a force to be reckoned with. All right, I'm gonna set that beer down for a second. I'm gonna get my second whiskey ready here. And when I set this video up, I kind of forgot that I got my, started getting my ice ready this morning. So I decided I wanted to go with the second one on the rocks with the big globe mold in there. Of course, I've got a smaller glass and I should have to put a globe mold, but nevertheless, what whiskey should we use? That's a tough question, man. It's got to be a bourbon. Obviously, it's National Bourbon Day. I got a couple ryes looking straight at me. I don't want to do that. I don't want to open another bottle because I got a lot of bottles open. Actually, I'm going to go with one I've had for quite some time here. Um, this is from the Neely Family Distillery in Sparta, Kentucky. This is their bottled and bond Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. This is Papa's birthday barrel. They don't give me an exact match, I don't think. No. It's been a while since I had it, so I can't remember exact notes. So we're going to learn together again. I do remember really liking it. So I bought 3 bottles from them. And quite frankly, I spent a lot of money and thought, wow, I probably should have because it was an unscheduled stop. Because I bought all of them without tasting them. But then when I got them home, I said, oh my God, I wish I had bought more. I bought their Sweet Thumped Rye at cask. That was incredible. And then I got a bourbon at cask that was just amazing. And quite possibly one of the very best wheated bourbons I've ever had in my life. So I'm going to pour some here. So I'm going to let it sit on that ice for just a minute. Not too long, but I want that to get nice and cold. So I'm going to finish this beer up with you while that does its thing and gets happy. There we go. The cork back in there. I really like this beer. Actually, I kind of forgot. I'm not sure if I had this exact one or not. I've had plenty of Rogue offerings over the years, but this one is just gorgeous. Show you that color one more time. A lot of orange, a lot of orange, a lot of pine. Orange zest specifically, a lot of big orange zest. You might find some other citrus. You might even pick up some tropical fruit notes, but I'm really feeling that orange zest in a great big way. And they weren't kidding you. You really do get those big pine notes right at the end. You get the sweetness right up front, but then you get hit with those pine notes. It just cleans it all up. Clean, refreshing. This beer is just incredible. All right. Let me show you this bottle one more time. Now, for Papa's birthday barrel, bottled and bond, construct Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. This is from Neely Family Distillery out of Sparta, Kentucky. And I know I've told this before, but we found them quite by accident as we were coming home from our vacation last year. We stopped at Jungle Gyms in Cincinnati for a few hours. Don't get me started. But by the time we started getting back on the road again, there was just a major storm happening. Uh, and then there were two semi wrecks on the highway blocking both sides. So it took us an hour and a half to go what would typically take maybe 20, 30 minutes. So when we're finally able to pull off, when it finally opened up, we decided to pull off and stretch. Stopped at a gas station, topped off our tank, but my wife saw a sign, but I didn't, that said Neely Family Distillery a half mile. She said, "You want to go?" I said, "Yeah, but we're already so far behind." She says, "No, go ahead. You're right here." So anyway, we went there and they had a couple of tastings going on, so I really couldn't do much there. But like I said, I bought 3 bottles. Two of them were, so the reason I thought I was spending too much money because 2 of the bottles that I bought were 375s. And they had a pretty hefty price tag, but they were at cash. So I said, okay, I've never been here before. And so at first I felt really good about the purchase. But then I started thinking, I just spent a whole lot of money on an unscheduled stop, right? Because now my budget's tighter. Uh, but when I got home and tried those products, oh my God, they were so amazing. I'm hoping to get back there this year. Oh yeah. So I think I'm right there, right what I like to call the sweet spot, right? You get that right amount of cold, you just get a little bit of water melting in there, and it brings all of those sugars to the surface. This one I feel like I'm picking up some very deep, dark brown sugar because you're definitely going to feel some molasses notes, a little bit of maple, really getting some maple in there. Again, the usual suspects, you're going to find some vanilla. And it's going to be affected because I put the ice in there, but it does finish nice, dry, and oaky. Oh, man, that's gorgeous. But it's about 85 in the Ozarks today and humid as all hell. So if they're going to do one pour, well, just do one. Let's do one pour on the rocks just for fun, just to say we did it. And I'll be honest, that whiskey, it is a neat drinking whiskey. So I hope they don't take offense here, but this is nice. You just have to be careful with drinking on the rocks because if you take too long, then you're going to kill it. You'll lose everything. Once you get too much water in there, you'll just kill it completely. You'll lose all the nuances. You'll lose everything. But you got that moment in time, right? Once you get that right amount of everything going to, oh man, right there. It's like when your wife finds that spot. Oh, that's it right there. Do not move. All right. Well, after this one, I got to take a little pause for the cause, get my pre dinner going. So, like I said, I got that good steak. I also got some Argentina Reds. But they're rather good size, so I'm only cooking 2 apiece for my wife and I. This is a big steak. There's probably going to be enough steak left over to have that for breakfast. The rest for breakfast. That's why I cook it rare, so you can heat it up again and not kill it. Oh, mercy. Thought about cooking outside. It is rather humid today, and I just don't have the energy to get my grill or smoker fired up. It's actually a smoker, but I can grill on it. I have a pit barrel, and I really, really like it, but I just don't feel like dealing with it today. I'm had a long week. It's very emotional. It's been a very emotional week for me, man. They get a little cranky at folks. But then again, sometimes I think some folks just ask for. You gotta look somebody dead in the eye sometimes. Are you intentionally trying to piss me off? Because you're right at it. Then again, and I can't say I'm not guilty of this myself, but some people just don't have the ability to read the room, right? I mean, you say a joke one time, it's funny. You say it again, the exact same joke in a period of about a few minutes, and then you repeat it again a third time, and say, "Now you're getting on my nerves." Okay, you've said that 3 times in a 5 minute period. Now you need to stop. Now it's not funny anymore. Now you're just trying to piss me off. Man, that is nice. This whiskey is so good. Now that I've got a little bit more in there, a little more water, a little more cold, I'm feeling more honey. So, to my point earlier, I've lost those other notes, right? The maple, the deep dark brown sugar are gone. So, what a point I'm trying to make is it gets lighter on you. You're watering down your whiskey. Now, it's not kill. I didn't kill it yet. It's still good, but now I'm feeling more of a honey like note in there. Damn, that's good. Anyways, I am Tom, the beer whisperer, beer evangelist. We'll skip to the end because it's National Bourbon Day, so that's what we care about today. I'm going to be Tom, the bourbon whisperer, bourbon evangelist, prolific bourbon drinker, premier wisdom, all around good guy.